Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Of course, he was a key architect behind MK Ultra. And they used frauds like Terence McKenna to get out there and promote the false narrative. Terence McKenna admitted that he was recruited and that he worked in deep background in public relations. And he created this whole stoned ape theory that people like Rogan and others have promoted for years. All of that stuff is totally false. When I figured out all of this beginning about 12, 13 years ago, I did an about face. I got away from the psychedelics. I started writing information to expose what it was doing to the culture. And today we only have to go outside and see, people with the rings in their septum, like, cattle and hogs, and purple and blue hair, and big holes in their ears and their lower lip and stuff. And all of this is about recreating the fall of humanity, taking us back to what was originally called the native revival, or as Terence McKenna coined it, the archaic revival. But, it's the false idea that because a culture is old and did drugs and were shamans, it's therefore better than our culture today. And the term native revivalism comes out of an OSS memo written by Gregory Bateson, talking about how the Russians overthrew certain indigenous cultures, as well as how it could be used to attack certain groups in their own culture. And so this is what we see. We see the CIA launching the entirety of the psychedelic revolution against the American public. It was not blowback by any stretch of anyone's imagination. It didn't get out of the CIA's control, as most people believe. The main books on MK Ultra, like John D. Mark's book, The Search for the Manchurian Candidate, or Marty Lee's book, Acid Dreams, all of the leading books out there on MK Ultra are disinformation to control the public narrative and to control what the people think MK Ultra was about. Timothy Leary admitted from at least 1962 forward, he was an admitted, witting CIA agent.
So was Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
So was Theodore Kaczynski, was actually one of the victims of the Harvard Social Relations Department under Henry A. Murray, who was doing the human experiments at Harvard, and they, really screwed Ted Kaczynski up, and he essentially retaliated. And what's interesting is, in my personal opinion, I think some of the areas he was targeting, and with his manifesto, et cetera, he was trying to expose the technocracy and the control network that they're rolling out that we see today. And
now they have the U.S. military saying, let's give hallucinogens to the troops. And again, by themselves, they're one thing, but led by these people, it is definitely able to open them up to these other dimensions. And I've talked to people, well-known people, that have been at these big events with ayahuasca with up to 50 people, and they're all having the same hallucination. Well, they're not all, quote, seeing these aliens that look like little goats, by the way, or elves. Because you would individually see that in hallucination. They're having group hallucinations because the veil is being removed. They're actually having an interdimensional interface. And what do these aliens or these demons always tell people, Jan? They tell them, there's too many people. You're part of the elite. You're going to merge with machines. You're going to be God, but you got to kill everybody first.
Yeah. And psychedelics also, I renamed them suggestogens in 2014 because they dramatically increase hypersuggestibility in the taker. So if you want to, mind control someone and make them very impressionable, you give them psychedelic drugs and play the Grateful Dead or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or whatever the case may be. In fact, if you ever even heard the word psychedelic before, or the word entheogen, et cetera, you've already been suggested to the outcome of the experience, and there's no safe way to take these substances.
Well, they're definitely mainlining it into the culture right now.
Absolutely. Even at Davos and the World Economic Forum recently, they were promoting them. They're promoting them everywhere, and people think that, well, if the government doesn't want you to use it, why are they illegal? Well, Timothy Leary went before Congress in 1965 and requested that they outlaw them. You cannot have a good youthful rebellion with legal substances called psychotomimetics or schizophrenogens. So they outlawed them, they renamed them, and then they put Leary out there, Gordon Wasson, Terrence McKenna out there to promote them to the public, and they created this whole false narrative about why they were outlawed in the first place.